Good morning, everybody. Lee Brower here, and welcome to this week's edition of Meaningful Monday. I am grateful to be here, and I am glad to be here. Are you a trim tab? A trim tab. Am I a trim tab? You know, I've been thinking a lot about Buckminster Fuller lately. He's a designer. I would call him an all-around boundary-pushing change maker. He's a revolutionary thinker. He's the one that we can thank for geodesic domes and all kinds of other things. Wrote 30 books. I'm so glad that I know of him and have been able to study him. And for those of you out there that have introduced me to him, thank you. You know, he talks about being a trim tab. He said even the biggest ship changes direction thanks to one of its smallest parts. Way in the back of a boat, deep inside the rudder, is a small part called a trim tab. And this mechanism, trim tab, when it moves one way, the whole ship turns in a new direction, just this little trim tab. And he reminded us that we all are like trim tabs, tiny parts of big systems, all working to move the ship in different directions. The trim tab principle, he suggests that if a person maintains their focus on what they know to be right, their vision, they might be able to move the world in a better direction, despite being just one small individual. I think there's people in the world today, so many people trying to make a difference in the world. But many are doing so in a very, very different way from the trim tab principle. The trim tab principle talks about us being able to move us and get us in it. I think some people confuse following the crowd and thinking of themselves, followers that think of themselves as leaders because they're following the crowd, but they haven't taken the time to think for themselves. I mean, I know most of you know that once a year I do a thing where I do a video to myself. On December 31st, I use the Dan Sullivan question where I say, hey Lee, if we're sitting here a year from now, looking back to today, what has to have happened for you to feel that you've made meaningful progress in those areas of your life that you value most? Now the question is critical. It's not just what will make me happy, but in those areas of my life that I value most. So I break it down and look through that lens, the empowered wealth lens. And as I look at that, I come up with a vision of the year for me, something that's looking out that I can move towards. And then I don't look at that video again until December 31st of the next year. So last December 31st in 2019, I made a video. My plan was to watch it December 31st of 2020. But I've been thinking a lot about this trim tab principle. And maybe, just maybe, because of everything that's just happened, maybe the time to make that trim tab adjustment is halfway through the year. And we're coming upon that point now. So I've made the decision that I'm going to watch that video. Instead of 12 months, I'm going to watch it at the 6-month mark. And I'm going to redo this. I'm going to ask myself, if we're sitting here 6 months from now, looking back to today, what has to have happened for me to feel that I've made meaningful progress in those areas of my life that I value most? And I'm excited to do this. You know, in this VUCA world that we live in, this volatile, uncertain, complex, and ambiguous world, we get to ask ourselves certain questions on how we can provide more stability in this VUCA world, how we can protect those things that we value most. So I look forward to 6 months from now. I look forward to going through the process of doing it now, adjusting the trim tab, being my own thinker, not letting others influence me. What are those ways that I can do that? I look forward to looking at that video and hearing myself say to me, hey Lee, did everything happen the way you wanted it to happen? How did you do? Were you able to protect those things in your life that you value most? Lee, were you able to protect your family, your faith? Were you able to make sure that you protected the principles and values that you espouse in the Empowered Wealth? What are those things that you value most? Were you able to protect those? Lee, what were you able to transform? Were you able to transform those obstacles that are popping up all over the place? Were you able to find ways to transform those into opportunities? Were you a stabilizer, Lee? Did you provide stability in a VUCA world? Were you able to provide stability in your home and in the community that you live in and within your business and those that you associate with? Would you be considered a stabilizer? And then how did you do in innovation? Were you innovative and creative? Instead of looking at the problems, were you able to find ways that you could create and really create amazing things? I want to wait. I want to have that conversation. And I'm suggesting to you, if this makes sense to you, then you trim your tab. You become that trim tabber, or that tab. No, you become that trim tab. Okay? You become that trim tab. Think about it. Together we're better. Together we're better. The world needs you. The world needs us at this time. Have a wonderful week. I will talk to you next week. Bye-bye.